Thank you so much for all your various comments, and I really do appreciate them. At the moment, I've not got a lot of time to go through everything and enumerate or detail individual comments, but know that I've seen them, and some I agree with, some I don't agree with, some I vehemently oppose. But I've approved of everything as far as I can see, and but there is a sort of general tenor going through that I promote kindness with a certain naivety. Believe me, I am the last person to want to be pushed around. I don't like it. And I resist. I resist quite firmly. There's a big difference between negotiation and bullying. And the problem is, in today's world, bullying tends to take precedence. And people who think they've got something on a bit of paper think they have a right. Well, that bit of paper often is wrong. And that's really where Mr. Putin is. Mr. Putin is a bully. Bullies can be everywhere. They can be spouses, they can be workplace colleagues, they can be business colleagues, heads of businesses, political leaders. We've seen them all. And in fact, bullies tend to rise to the top of these different places. They tend to be attracted to positions of authority, even in the home. And the only thing to do there is to stand up. Now, it's not necessarily an easy process, and it doesn't necessarily win you friends. Do you fight every inch of the way? How can a reasonable person resist an unreasonable bully? Well, I don't know. In the end, the truth comes out. In the end, it takes time, but in the end, by being patient and by trying as hard as possible to see the other point of view, even if we don't agree with it, and to hold one's corner, to try to understand what's going on, to try to anticipate. And you don't win by dominating or by domineering. You don't win by belittling another person. You win by parity. Parity is the way forward, not condescension. And there are so many things that we can give in to, so many things, and we need to pick those points at which we are simply not going to budge, and even there is room for flexibility. Without flexibility, there is no negotiation. Without flexibility, there is no conversation. Conversation, as I keep saying, is not about sloganizing, but about considering what somebody else says, accepting what one can and rejecting what one can't, and presenting an alternative. There are win-win negotiations. There's plenty of examples of these. And I would hope, even though we know that Mr. Putin is a tyrant and a blackguard and a liar and a cheat, I would hope that we can start negotiating with him. Because once we have somebody round the table, once we have somebody in negotiations, and ideally the real person who makes decisions, not some poodle, then we can see a way forward. And these so-called red lines, these absurd things which Mrs. May went on about, there are no red lines. There's points, there's lines that we can cross, there's lines we can move. Red lines are themselves negotiable. And we simply have to see what is fixed, what is not fixed, what can be moved, and what responsibility people can share. There is a starting point in the Ukraine-Russia war, and that is that Russia invaded another country. And Russia will have to pay for that. Russia is the aggressor. It doesn't matter what propaganda has been going on, what propaganda has been spread in Russia. We know Russia has form. I'm the first to stand up and say Russia has form, even when there was no advantage to them. The Russian news people perverted, distorted an interview that I did, probably more than one interview that I did on their TV for a TV station called NTV. They dubbed completely fake words into my mouth. If they can do that about something which is not important, and if they can do that to somebody who is not significant, then how much more are they doing to people who are significant and who have an impact on the future of this conflict? We may not trust somebody, but we can at least start talking.